Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. Hope everyone's well wherever you are. Peace and love and all that jazz. These videos record as well as possible. Gotta admit, recently I've been losing my confidence in making videos, and that's why I didn't make a video Monday. Although yesterday I say I'm not that religious, but although I do believe in God, I have paranoia rather than hope, I often say. But yesterday I didn't upload a video. Well, partly I got a bit tired and I thought I'd wait till I'm ready or whatever, but also because it was the 7th, I thought I'd rest on 7th. So some people say I don't do anything anyway, but I did even less if that's possible. Let's say nothing. But anyway, I take things literally, so I won't say I don't do anything. But I mean, for someone who's quite lazy and laid back, if I sat down for long or whatever, I'd get bored. But I do get bored quite easily, so I like to keep moving in some ways. And I'm planning to go to the gym today as well. I've been for one walk and I'm planning to go for another one because I didn't go for a walk yesterday as well. I got too late to go for a walk, so I thought I'd go for 2 today to make up for it. Because normally I like to go for a walk, and also I like to have a shower every day. I did have a shower last night, but at night time. Anyway, nice lifestyle. But I was worried, like, what if I repeat myself too much? Will people like it or whatever? And I know these videos are about trying to give confidence and inspiration to people who are black, Anatric or dyslexic for this month. Due to my silly patterns, I like to put dyslexic first, dyslexic, Anatric or black, because I think I am dyslexic, although I learned to spell. I'm pretty sure that genetically I am dyslexic, but because I had the extra help, you can't really tell, although I have poor punctuation. But anywho, I have been procrastinating and things like that. Yesterday I decided to take it easy, but I felt bad. On Monday I did want to make a video, and even on Tuesday I was going to make up for it by making some videos, but or at least one video to talk about ideas I wanted to talk about with Meta, the parent company of Facebook. I was going to say Google, but anyway. But yeah, I've been overthinking. I'm trying to narrow my ideas, and I hope to get to a point. I'm hoping to make a couple of videos, go to the gym, make another video, have a shower, and then make one more. So that's my plan for tonight. I've been uploading a few videos on my phone, but I need someone to help me because I'm technically illiterate, as in terms of illiterate when it comes to tech. I'm not very good at tech, basically. Unfortunately, I love the irony of supporting people in Africa in tech because I'm not very good at it. But yeah, I'm thinking of things that begin with W. So as it's a Wednesday, but I'm wary about repeating some of the stuff I talked about before. But I hope people out there will enjoy it, especially dyslexic, Anatric or black people. And I hope you'll support a dyslexic content creator, YouTuber and whatnot. One thing that put me off as well is I look back at my videos and it seems like Facebook or Meta has deleted some, and I hope to talk more about that tomorrow. And my plans to try and encourage Meta and Facebook and whatnot, YouTube or whatever, to support my content and that kind of thing. So it'd be cool if people wrote to them on my behalf and told them to support it. But I'm going to crack on anyway. I thought I'd do this in list form. Tomorrow I'm not sure if I want to do videos in list form or do something a bit different. I have to make a decision on that tonight, hopefully, for tomorrow, and try and plan ahead. As some might say, winners plan their day a day early or whatever. Not that much one of those, but anyway, these are pointers number 1 to 10. So I'm waffling, but yeah, I just want to say I was struggling with confidence, but I hope these videos do make a genuine difference. I hope people do enjoy them, and I hope that they do benefit dyslexic, Anatric or black people to improve their confidence and that kind of thing. There's something I was going to say, but I'm going to leave that for a bit later. So here goes. So number 1, I'm not, from a selfish point of view, I'd love to see how dyslexic, Anatric or black people can make Italian footy world class. I know I do say that quite a lot, but it's a Wednesday, world class Wednesdays, I think, like things that begin with W. So seeing what dyslexic, Anatric or black people can contribute to Italian football, and how to improve relations between them, as I talked about before. So how Italians can see, like, dyslexic people have talents and skills and abilities through football, and also hopefully the rest of the world will see that if we contribute to. I'd love that to be part of my legacy, which I hope to come to, legacy and that kind of thing. There's another word I was thinking of, but I can't think of it. My life's purpose and life's mission, I think that's what I was going to say. That's more than one word, but yeah, and also like improving relations with Italians and black people through football. Also, I would love to support dyslexic and or black poets. And when I was thinking so much, I was thinking about like how I'd love for AC Monza, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma, and other town teams to be world class, and to help Italian football to be world class. But I'll talk more about that a bit later. But yeah, I'd love to support dyslexic and or black poets, and I'd love to know any suggestions you have on that. Also, moving on, number 2, to help them to network together and things like that. But I hope to support dyslexic and or black artists. As I said before, like when I say and or, it's my way of saying like I cover all the bases. So dyslexic and or, so it could be dyslexic and it could also be black. And sometimes people are both black and dyslexic. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I like to cover all my bases, so to speak. I hope that makes sense. As I say, yeah, supporting dyslexic poets and dyslexic and or black poets and artists, and helping them to network together and learn from each other and that kind of thing. I'd also love to interview dyslexic and or black people, including poets, artists, and whatnot, to talk about their experiences and their views, their challenges and their successes. Art is one area where dyslexic people can often thrive unless you have an overlapping condition or overlapping conditions like me. I have dyspraxia as well, I believe, so I do struggle with coordination and focus and attention span and things like that. So if there's long texts or long videos, I do struggle with that, but also focusing on art and having the confidence and that kind of thing. So unfortunately, I'm not very good at art, but many dyslexic people can be good at art. It's a pathway for people with dyslexia, and it's a way dyslexic people can express themselves, I guess. So yeah, it is an area where dyslexic people as well as autistic people can be good. I'm not sure about people with ADHD, but I know I'm mainly focusing on dyslexics. But I also wanted to talk more about dyspraxia, which I'm hoping to do for the rest of this month as well, a little bit if I can. And also in December, because my use of alliterations, dyspraxia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and disabilities more generally, I hope to talk about in December. Number 3, I'd love to read and hear your views, I often say. But I'd also love to support dyslexic and or black poets, writers, I beg your pardon. So poets, artists, and writers, as I call it, poor. So it could be dyslexic, poor, and black poor. Now in October, I'm hoping to focus mainly on black British as well as African people, because it's Black History Month here in Britain, and I think there's links to like signings of unity in African countries, and the links between Black Britain and Africa. I think there's something to do with that, and Nigeria's Independence Day was on the 1st, and there may be 1 or 2 other African nations have their Independence Days in October, and I'd love to find out when African nations have their Independence Days. Yeah, I'm hoping to focus more on Black Britain and Black people in Britain as well as Africa, because in February I'm hoping to focus more on people in America, or the Americas generally, but especially in America itself. But yeah, so I call it dyslexic poor and or black poor. So poor stands for poets, artists, and writers. Obviously, it's an acronym. But so yeah, the way I put it is P.A.W. Just like M.A.S. But anywho, yeah, that's part of my patterns. But moving on, number 4, a very controversial idea I have, and I often talk about, is how I would love to discourage black people from joining Western militaries or even POC generally, and I'd love to discourage dyslexics, which I hope to go into. So with dyslexics, a controversial view here, I should be careful what I say, as ever, but I was recording videos in my room and I thought, I'm not sure if I should say too much about my room and my hoarding and my mess and whatever, but it is part of who I am, I guess. But dyslexics are often overrepresented in crime. I think in Britain, for instance, I think about 10 or 11% of the population is said to be dyslexic, about 4% severely. Obviously, this month is about awareness and all that kind of thing for dyslexia. And I suppose for black people as well, ironically, in the same month. But yeah, so we are overrepresented. I think 21% of people in crime are dyslexic. So I'd love to change that. And here's a controversial bit. I've got to be careful what I say because I don't offend military people or their families or whatever. But to me, not that it's working for the elite, in my opinion, and it's taken over, like in Iraq, taking over their resources and things like that. So to me, I would love the irony of getting dyslexic people to be out of crime and not to be involved in crime. And I don't know if I can say this, but militarism to me probably should be a crime. But I know my heroes are very different. But yeah, when it comes to dyslexics, I'd love to get them out of crime. I'd love to get them out of militaries, gangs, terrorism, anything that involves violence, unless in self-defense, and crime generally as well, and to always obey the law as much as possible. Obviously that would be their choice, but that's what I'd love to do. And with the black community, I would love for them to support each other, like invest together, run businesses together, and work on things together, and support people in Africa, support their brothers and sisters in Africa, so to speak, and be more united. And one of the things I was thinking of is like dyslexics against war, and also black people against war. Again, thinking about things that begin with W for Wednesdays. So I was thinking like that would involve African nations like coming together and refusing to go to war together, and against each other rather, and saying we're going to support each other. We're going to try and avoid wars unless we really have to, unless we're being invaded or whatever. We'll spend those resources on our healthcare, education, clean water, otherwise that means with W, and things like that. So to come together and stop divisions and things like that amongst black people in Africa and in Britain, and I guess around the world. So yeah, I'd love for them to be against wars. Thinking about something that begins with W as well. I think that covers everything for point 4. As ever, I'd love to know what you think, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. If these videos are actually helpful, if there's something you would advise me to do differently, or if there's a better way to raise awareness for the black community and record dyslexics or whatever else you want to comment. As ever, I often say freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I was supposed to say that in point number 3, as well as taking 3 sips of my tea and all that sort of patterns. But moving on, number 5, I'd love to support dyslexic and so-called black people with their ambitions, whether that's being poets, artists, writers, designers, engineers, architects, or whatever it might be. Like even dyslexics who might not believe, that you might think, well, I struggle with reading or writing, you might think that's one area where dyslexics can't go into, but there are actually dyslexics who are writers, who could maybe mentor and teach and train, which I suppose is what mentorship is, others. I personally didn't really need to do this, but I thought I'd bring this as a visual example. I use black notebooks, well, that's refill pads or whatever, or these sorts of notebooks to write up my ideas for black empowerment. I love to write, even though I can't write, probably have really poor punctuation. You can probably see just about my handwriting's not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but the reason why I mentioned this, and I thought I'd give a visual example, if you like, which is funny enough because dyslexics can focus on visual stuff, but just generally as well, I thought I'd give a visual example. So I was thinking next week is what date is next week? The 15th on Wednesday. The Wednesday falls on the 15th, I believe, and then the week after is the 22nd, and then the week after that is the 29th. And I thought because I could do dyslexia projects in December, it could be dyslexic December, I thought I could focus on finding out about 40 on the 15th. I hope to find out about 40 black poets, either from Britain or from Africa, and write about them in here so I can read them. So just so I remember, otherwise I won't remember things. So I hope to write them in here and remember and be motivated enough to do that. And then on the 22nd, I hope to write about 40 black artists, as in painters, people who draw and that kind of thing, those type of artists. It's a bit confusing. It's a bit like when people say tea. Tea I think of is like what tea you drink, but tea could also mean tea. Here in Britain, I don't know if other people use that, but tea could also mean your dinner. Or people call it supper as well for some reason. Instead of saying tea or supper, I prefer to use the word dinner. But other people use it differently, but it's a bit confusing. But what was the thing I was confused with? Artists, yeah, that's it. Sorry, artists are the artists that draw and paint and whatever. Visual artists versus, well, I suppose the other type of artists could also be visual, but they also mean musicians. But I normally say musicians, and that's for Mondays. But so by artists, I mean people who draw and paint and whatever. There's a great young artist in Nigeria, and there's quite a few hyperreal artists and all sorts of people like that. the school I support in Kenya, there's a great artist there. He's a former student, and Nancy, who's a founder of the school, who I hope to interview, says there's other artists in the school as well, which I imagine with dyslexia and autism and whatever. But yeah, I hope to write up those things: poetry, art, and then the week after, writers, 40 black writers from Britain and Trickle from Africa. I suppose I'd do 40 on each, but then the videos will be too long. It's easier just to do 40 overall. But yeah, I hope to write up the first 40 that I find out about to raise their profile, which I hope is a way to support them. I hope that's a way of raising their profile. And I suppose people who actually read, unlike me, I don't really read much, can read that. I know there's a book, Brilliant Black and Dyslexic, or something like that, which is more about the getting more diverse representation of dyslexia rather than just white males. It can be more women and black people, POC, people of colour, or whatever. But when I say black, I mean from Africa or Australasia or whatever, that type of black, not Asian, whatever. But yeah, having more POC generally as well of colour being represented, I guess you could say. Yeah, I'd love to support black people, I'd say, with their ambitions. And I love to share ideas and to read ideas from other people and hear ideas from other people and that kind of thing. And as I say, I hope to write them in this book. So each Wednesday for the next 3 weeks, I hope to focus. So again, the 15th, poets, 40 poets, 40 black poets. On the 22nd, again, 40 artists. And on the 29th, they said 40th, there's not that many days a month, unfortunately, but writers. But yeah, I think I made my point. But yeah, so I'm moving, I think, what was I going to say? Yeah, having more diverse representation. And I did read that book. That's one of the few books I think I've read about 5 to 10 books, probably my whole life, I think. Sure. Maybe when I was younger I used to read, I don't know, but not too keen on reading. I don't really have the attention span, or watching movies, which I think would be quite an irony if I made my own movies, but that's the topic for another day. I'm going to move on anyway, because I probably could talk all day, but so yeah, Black Ambition, Dyslexic and Trickle Black Ambition. It could be, when I talk, I might be confusing the issue, but because October is a month for both, it could be white, black, or Asian people with dyslexia, or it could be black people who don't have a dyslexia, or it could be black people who do have dyslexia. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'm going to move on. Number 6, I would say I'd love to see what dyslexic people could contribute, and I'd love for that to be part of my life's mission, my legacy, if I dare say that, and my purpose, my life's mission / purpose on my bucket list or whatever, to travel to Italy, but also with fellow dyslexics, and I hope to reward those who support me by promoting their projects, what I call 1, 2 off, or 1 or share, line for line, like for like, and all that good stuff. But I'd love to see what dyslexic people could contribute together, including myself, to towards although I don't know if I have an official diagnosis or whatever, but anyway, as someone who classes themselves as dyslexic, it runs in families. A lot of my relatives are dyslexic, especially my dad's side of my family. Stomach's rumbling a lot, you might have heard that. But yeah, seeing what we contribute to town teams like AC Monza, Inter Milan, and I'm wearing their rivals cap because I'm mad and I support all the Italian teams. But yeah, like playing as AC Milan against Inter Milan and vice versa in their kits and whatever, helping them to practice. But again, I could go on all day about my plans to benefit Italian football. I was thinking like the under 20. So I was also thinking like I should finish one point at a time, but sorry, jump from point to point. But I think that's probably a dyslexic thing as well. But or potential ADHD, you never know. I wonder if I had 4 learning disabilities. I think that'd be probably a bit greedy. But if I had dyslexia, dyspraxia, autism, and ADHD, that would be quite interesting. Although I don't normally have energy. There's something I was thinking of that, but I think I'll leave that for now. But yeah, dyslexics traveling to Italy together, sharing ideas or strategies and fundraising and all sorts of things like that. And playing and practicing, and hopefully that would help Italians to see dyslexia in a more positive light through football. Hopefully they can work with we can work with the Italian FA, FIGC, and Serie A and whatnot. And people around the world hopefully will see what we contribute to Italian football, all being well, to help Italian teams like AC Monza, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma, and all the other Italian teams really, Juventus, Fiorentina, and so on and so forth. even at grassroots level, lower league levels, in parks and schools and whatnot, to become world class generally. So promoting football in Italy generally and helping Italians practice, and having like Italy could have its own Dyslexic World Cup. In the past, I've thought of like Dyslexic United FC and that kind of thing. And yeah, sorry. In the under-20s World Cup, which is going on now, I don't know if Italy's involved in that, unfortunately, but I'm not sure. But I definitely hope Italy goes to the World Cup and wins for the first time in 20 years. I mean, about time, I guess. Other countries might say so, I guess. But I think they're probably due a victory, so I've got to be careful what I say. But I suppose Brazil would be saying it's about time we won as well. But I hope Italy win 20 years after we last won in 2006. That was the next World Cup. For those who know, for those who don't know, the next World Cup is next year in Brazil. That's right, in America and Mexico and Canada. So it's in 3 nations. Probably involve a lot of travelling. The club teams will be happy. But sorry, going off topic. But yeah, I'd love to see what Dyslexic contribute to Italian football. Preferably, I'd love to sell the idea to my fellow dyslexic and work with dyslexia charities, NGOs, possibly mosques, churches, or whoever will help. And in return, like if mosques help, I'd share grants. If churches help, I'd share Bibles and that kind of thing. And I'd try and make a fair deal. But yeah, could go on into more detail. But yeah, I was thinking, Italian scouts should be scouting for Serie A for the players in the Under-20 World Cup, so we can see what good ones could be brought to Italy. And I'd love to know from Italian fans as well, like what players, coaches, managers, coaching dietitians, coaching staff, or whatever they'd like to see in Italian football. Similar with Celtic, which I hope to come to. I'm jumping in myself again. I'd love to see what black people could contribute to Italian football and how they can improve relations. I know it's a bit of a stereotype, and I should divert away from stereotypes. There's something else I was going to say. I think I forgot to say something in point number 4, but about stereotypes and that kind of thing. But anyway, I guess the video is long enough. But yeah, seeing what black people could contribute to Italian football, and like maybe I wonder if Italians could be convinced, like if they see black people who contribute to Italian football and can be or athletic. I know it's a bit of a stereotype, but because I support Italy only in and for the football, looking at it at a unique angle. Sorry, I can't get words out. But yeah, seeing how relations can be improved. I was hoping, like, say, I was talking about Nigeria on the first last week, and exactly a week ago, actually, it happens. And I was saying, like, I was thinking, I forgot to say I'd love for Nigeria to have its own sovereign wealth, and I think it already does, but to invest in Napoli, going on iterations. But yeah, hopefully improving relations with football. So hopefully that'll make Italians less racist, or maybe I'm being very naive. And also, I almost forgot to say, like, from a less selfish point of view, I'd love to support works from, well, I suppose I did say poetry, art, writing, and that kind of thing, and what you might class as works by black and or dyslexic people, whichever order you want to put it in, dyslexic and or black or whatever. But yeah, whether that's poetry, art, writing, architecture, design, engineering, or whatever it might be. And I'd love to interview black and or dyslexic people about the work they do, their works, their projects, and whatnot, businesses, whatever. And have more women's representation in the way that gives W, but I'll talk about that a bit more later. I'm really gutted, I forgot to say something important before, but anyway. Moving on, number 7, similar sort of thing for Celtic. I hope to talk more about 1-2 for 1 or shift share, line for line, and like for like, if I can tonight, and hopefully tomorrow as well, and in the future, I'm sure, all being well, touch wood, as they say, but I'll leave that for a bit later. Number 8, I suppose I was thinking, in many ways, you might say, in terms of dyslexia, it doesn't necessarily relate to dyslexia, because people might say, well, dyslexia is just about spelling. But I guess people say, like, sport is a good path for dyslexics who might not feel so good at school. And even if dyslexics can do, like, the poetry, art especially, and even writing, maybe even more so, in fact, they can say, oh yeah, my teacher said I can't be a writer, but with ghost writers or with spell checker or whatever it might be, or a range of different things, I show what I can do. So I thought going to a gym is something that could give people with dyslexia confidence, like training together. I was thinking when I go to the gym tonight, basically, in about 40 minutes, hopefully, I have to leave in about 40 minutes. But I was thinking, what if I recorded, if I'm allowed to, but I'm a bit shy to ask, but I thought, what if I recorded my gym session so I could say what people can achieve, even fools and lazy bums like me. And I was thinking, like, if my mate's there, one of my mates, I thought he could take a picture of my training. I mean, one of my mates did actually take a picture of my training, and he sent it to me on Facebook. But I was thinking, like, on my own phone, if he sent me a picture, so I have a picture in the future, which I can share with others to inspire others, maybe. Especially if I do manage to lose weight and all that kind of, just keeping it off. I know I have a very bad diet, but if I can do it, probably pretty much anyone can, to be fair. But yeah, maybe black people could also train with each other, and also they could hang around with each other so they can make sure they're safe with all the racist attacks and that kind of thing. Maybe they could work together in groups and work and walk together in groups and be united as much as possible, and like protect their women and young people and that kind of thing, and try and keep each other out of knife crime and keep each other out of danger and whatnot, and inspire and encourage each other to reach their full potential and be positive. But yeah, if they're in a group, they're less likely to be attacked or whatever. But again, I could be being naive, but these are some of my thoughts. Number 9, I love to support, as I say, works and projects by dyslexic and stroke or black people, respectively. Again, I'd love to have any people's advice on that and interview dyslexic and stroke or black people, help them to raise their profile and support their works and get to the point a lot quicker. And number 10, I'd love to support works by young dyslexic and stroke or black people and see how they can be inspired to work to their full ability, reach their full potential and that kind of thing. Gosh, I do struggle to get to the point, I'm sorry. But anyway, on that note, if anyone made this far, thanks so much, and I'm out. Peace and love.